Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this stupendous Saturday. You're looking absolutely amazing. And I'm going to get straight into the meat and potatoes. As today's video is an apology. It's an apology in two parts. Two apologies in one. So, strap yourselves in. You're still not going to like some of it. I will caveat it with that. But look, first of all, I'm going to address the point that people were trying to reach out. I did a video yesterday that I pulled the video because I thought this is a video that we need to have a discussion around. So I dropped that video and then went live. But then what I did, I then went into a rant because I'd been pissed off by just the amount of messages and emails that I'd got off the back end of the previous video. And on top of that, I had things going on that was nothing to do with the platform that I was also dealing with in the background, and I behaved in a manner that wasn't perhaps right. And well, I say perhaps right, it wasn't right, and I apologise because I should have listened to people that were in the comments that were pointing me to address certain things. It wasn't that I hadn't seen them. It's that I just got on this rant and I failed to address it, which then led me to have to go into the comments and try and battle the comments that were doing what I should have done, and was ironically the entire purpose of the live that I'd set up. So for that, I apologise, and I will address it here. And that is that with respect of this entire Candace Owens and TP USA situation, this is my understanding of it, and I'm then going to have to apologise again. So first of all, again, just for clarity, I apologise to those people who I should have explained to myself better, and I failed to address or acknowledge those that were trying to get me to acknowledge and address a certain element of this Candace Owens TP USA situation, which was that Candace Owens had offered to do this remotely, and I didn't address that, but I'm going to now. So this is my take on this entire situation, and that is that Candace Owens has been going at the jugular of TP USA for weeks. She's accused multiple people of being involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but she hasn't provided evidence or proof. Well, I say she hasn't provided evidence. There is evidence that would potentially make someone consider that this is a possibility, but there is a difference between evidence and proof. They are they're two very, very different things. One are things that you can look at that can be interpreted differently from certain angles. Some things are worse than others, and some people have a real ability at turning evidence into proof in the minds of people. And before I just continue, this is kind of leans into that, and I want you to just look at this. I'm not going to read the entire article, but it says, Candace Owens is the most dangerous person on the internet right now, but where did she come from? Whether it's wildly speculating about Charlie Kirk's murder or forcing Bridget Macron to prove that she is a woman, the far-right podcaster and conspiracy theorist had millions of listeners hooked on her unique brand of dangerous misinformation. So how has Candace Owens been allowed to become so powerful? Asked Katie Rosinski. Now, this is the Independent. They're not left or right leaning, in my opinion. They're kind of, I wouldn't say all of the time, but this is a genuine question. This article here is comes from a place of Candace Owens is dangerous. Candace Owens is dangerous. Whether you want to hear it or not, Candace Owens is dangerous. The Bridget Macron situation is case in point. Do you know where that entire story, where that was born from? The inception of these accusations, like around the model photograph that had been AI manipulated, that the medium had fallen for, then this has just spiraled out of control. And the fact that this went to court and Candace Owens lost, but it had to be overturned because freedom of speech. It's the freedom of speech laws that enable people to say what they want to say and, for the most part, get away with it. You can have an opinion. You can have an opinion, and you know it's. But look, I'll continue. I'll continue just to make my point around this. So TP USA have been kind of attacked, and like I will say, I don't trust TP USA. I don't trust them at all. There's other elements that I have raised that I find a little bit bizarre around the entire organisation, and I'm going to shortly be covering another situation that goes right back to 2018 and some of the issues that they seemingly covered up there. So they're not, you know, they're not all choir boys, do you know what I mean? And angels, they're just not, but who is? But, so they come out after being attacked for weeks and say, look, we are going to be doing a live stream that is going to address the accusations that have been thrown at us by Candace Owens, and we are going to address each and every one of them. And we invite Candace, if she wants to be here when we do that, she can. And it seems that subsequently it's been said that it was Erica Kirk who said invite her here. So that's interesting, because you could say, okay, maybe Erica wants to speak to Candace Owens face-to-face, away from the camera, away from the limelight, to actually look her in the eyes and say, what the fuck are you doing? You were supposed to be Charlie's friend, and what are you actually doing? You're literally trying to burn down the very organisation that you helped to build, and then he went on to build and become what it is today, and you're trying to burn it all down to the ground. What is your thought behind it? Because what a lot of Candace Owens followers are doing is they are coming at this from an angle of Turning Point USA have done something wrong, and because they've done something wrong, they're on the back foot and they need to do specific things in specific ways. And this is where my second apology comes in, because I apologise because I can't operate that way. I come from a place of, I appreciate that there's some things that happen in the world. There's a chance that TPUSA perhaps ain't as straight as a motherfucking arrow, and that there's things that they do that many businesses do that tries to evade taxes and try to do things that they shouldn't do. And also there may be money coming in that they want to hide, and money going to places that they perhaps don't want people to know where it goes. And there could be other much more nefarious things. I'm not saying that. But what I'm interested in is Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, who killed Charlie Kirk and why was he killed? And that the people involved in that, they are held accountable. Now, again, I've raised the issue that some things around Charlie Kirk on that day didn't sit right with me, such as the security team. They're literally standing over him and seemingly smiling. But look, that can be interpreted many ways. But the flip side of that coin is that you hear that Frank Turek had turned around and said, I don't like this, something don't sit right. Apparently, that's what was said. You've only got Frank's word for it, but apparently that's what he said. So even within the close-knit circle around TPUSA, you've seemingly got Frank Turek raising a concern that the security team perhaps should have had a concern with, but seemingly didn't. So was there a fracture between Frank Turek and the security team? Obviously, if all these people are all involved in it, then they'd have been working in unison. Frank Turek would have likely been supportive of the security and saying, well, we thought everything was fine. But yet he raised an issue saying that he didn't think everything was fine. So there's an issue there, these slight nuances. But anyway, I digress. So Neff comes out and he literally says, we're going to address these things and Candace Owens can come, and it turns out that Eric is the person who said, look, invite her over. Yes, they eventually give the time, and it's done late at night. But what people seem to be trying to make it sound like is that they give her like an hour's notice. Well, they didn't. It's the 15th, and it's now, as I record this, the 6th. So she's had over a week's notice. She's literally been going for their jugular for weeks on end, literally saying that she wants to look them in the eyes, face to face. She will go anytime, any place, and they give her a week's notice. They don't contact her directly because they never said that they would. This wasn't set up as an exclusive between TPUSA and Candace. They just said, we will be addressing what has been the accusations, and Candace Owens is welcome to be here when we do. So they then go onto social media and they tell their audience when this is going to be. Is that fair? Am I being fair so far? So they tell their audience when it's going to be. And it gives Candace a week's notice. Now, Candace's rebuttal of that initially is that this date isn't convenient. It's when she does her own podcast, yada, yada, yada. Some people have also pointed out that it's her husband's birthday. They've got family coming over. Well, my point around that fact is that that's not TPUSA's problem. That's not their problem. You've said that you'll do it any time, any place. You're the one who has been attacking them consistently over the course of weeks. They have said, we're going to address your accusations and you can be here when we do it. They haven't said that they're going to work around her. They haven't at any point said, you tell us when it's convenient for you and we'll do it. They've just said, we are going to address the accusations and when we do it, she's welcome to be here. We're inviting her to come and be part of it. But so people will turn around and say, well, the fact that they invited her should mean that they should work around her. And I say, well, no, it doesn't. You may feel that they should, but you feel that they should because you're a supporter of her and feel that it should be done that way. But the nuances of that is that this wasn't set up that way. We're going to address, she can be here when we do. She's publicly stated, anytime, any place. But this time and this place wasn't convenient. Now, some people will turn around and say, yeah, but she's had a death threat made against her. She's had a death threat made against her, and I can kind of understand, yeah, look, if she's had a death threat against her, maybe she's concerned that they are a danger. You think they're a danger because of what Candace Owens has told you about them, even though the death threat was apparently the Macrons who had put out a hit on her. So the Macrons have put out a hit on her. We know that there's this ongoing situation between her and the Macrons. She then ties in the Macrons and this to Charlie Kirk's death. Again, there's been no proof of this. There's been no proof shown. There's no proof of it. And is there things in the background that you could say could be connected and again, evidence? Yes, of course. If you look deep enough, you'll probably find evidence that can all be interconnected to one another. So I'm not saying it's beyond the realms of possibility. But again, so Candace Owens then says, I'll do it remotely. And this is the bit that people got frustrated with me about. And again, I apologise I didn't address it the first time round. I'll do it remotely. And what people are pissed off about is that they turned around and said, no, we're not doing it remotely. And I think of it like this. Doesn't that now make even more sense now we know that it was Erica Kirk, or we've been told it was Erica Kirk who invited her? Maybe Erica Kirk wants to have a sit down with Candace Owens, face to face, away from the cameras, and say, what are you doing? Maybe she just wants to run her hand through her hair. Maybe she wants to bribe her. Maybe they want to offer Candace money away from the limelight. Who knows? Everyone's got a price. I'm just saying, they don't automatically have to accept that. That isn't the offer that was given. We are going to be covering the accusations that you have made, and you are welcome to be here when we do. Candace Owens can't do it. It's inconvenient for, I don't know why, whether it's her podcast or her husband, family coming over, whatever, or if it's just because there's a death threat and she doesn't feel safe. Who knows? I would think that Candace Owens wouldn't be scared. She doesn't seem the scared type. She addressed it and said, no assassinations, no assassinations. I'll be there. No assassinations. And it seems that she would have been okay doing it if they'd have changed the date to accommodate her. The point being, they don't need to accommodate her. They don't have to accommodate her. They don't owe her anything. They don't owe her a thing. They're not her friends. That's very clear. She's made that very clear. So they don't need to. And I get that it's frustrating. I get that it's upsetting. I get that some people are disappointed. I get that some people already have TPUSA plugged as guilty as charged because Candace Owens has said it. I get it. But feelings don't matter here. What you think and feel should be right, is right. It doesn't matter. It's what was said. What was said, and what was turned down, and what is the reality in terms of what people's obligations are to each other and other people. And TPUSA has no obligation to offer Candace Owens any ability to leverage what they do and how they do it. They don't have to accommodate what she wants, how she wants, when she wants. We're going to address it. Maybe they just thought, no, you fucking inconvenienced us, so we're going to inconvenience you. Maybe they knew it was her partner's birthday and said, fuck it, do it on her partner's birthday. She want to come over here, she can miss that. You know what I mean? It's that. Maybe it's just this pettiness in the background. That's what it turns into. Maybe that's the entire point. It's just one big, who's got a bigger dick? Do you know what I mean? And maybe there's a bit of that somewhere around this. But again, I apologise to those people who felt I had ignored them or I'd missed stuff. Again, I knew I just got on this focusing on one certain thing and I didn't address this in its entirety. But I think this is in its entirety now. Yes, she offered to do it remotely and they turned her down. But they offered her to go there and do it and they gave her a week's notice and she turned it down. If this was so important, so important, would she not make it work? And I get some people are going to say, yeah, but she's got a death threat. What are you trying to do? Get her killed? She's a multi-millionaire. She can get security. Do we really think that TPUSA would have her bumped off on the way there or while she's there? Who knows? But that would be for her to do. If that's the case, maybe she should come out physically and say, no, I'm definitely not going there because I believe I'll be executed. But she actually wanted it to be changed. She said she'd accommodate that, and they said no. Which, again, I get that it's frustrating, but they don't have to work around her. She has attacked them ferociously for weeks. She has accused them of literally being involved in the death of Charlie Kirk, betraying him, and offered no proof that that's the case. Is there evidence? Yes, there's evidence, but there's also evidence that Charlie Kirk isn't even dead, which I'm going to be talking about in video 2 later on today. So, again, there's a difference between evidence and proof. And again, I apologise also for just not being able to follow someone blindly because it seems to be the most popular thing to do. And you try and you think to yourself, oh, I better not go against this individual because if I do, there's going to be a huge backlash to it. Like the loss of subscribers or the comments that you don't do this or you're not listening, you're not doing this. And yeah, to a degree, a lot of those comments were right. I wasn't listening and I got off on a tangent, but I still feel that the point is right, even though I missed out why I'd actually concluded where I'd concluded. But love you all, and I will catch you all later today. Mwah.